returning to normal. It's what Farmington can do and should. I am Mark Stewart Greenstein. I am the candidate on the ballot for town council for normal. It's not for, some great achievement. I don't have any. It's not for some amazing set of ideas. I have a few little ones. It is for avoiding bad ideas that come from our diverging bad big parties. And all my opponents are part of one of them. Whether Democrat or Republican, they're not serving us well. Here's an independent. And you, who probably have an independence of mind, even if you have a party affiliation, I appreciate that independence and not tethering ourselves to a party orthodoxy that is wayward. And both parties now are at the orthodoxy, especially DC level. Hasn't terribly affected us in Farmington, but don't let it. Vote independent and vote solely independent. You have 2 votes for council. I would use only one of them. Use one as a point so that the other doesn't dilute. I am that candidate for the normal America that you grew up with, that frankly was present up until 10, 15 years ago, and we've gotten wayward. Now, 100 years ago, we had a president who was inaugurated on a platform, return to normalcy. And it followed 3 years after some great abnormalcies, almost excusable though. His predecessor was Woodrow Wilson, who fought a war, maybe the greatest war until that time. It was called the Great War. It was a president who had to somewhat fight. He didn't do too much. A true pandemic, one that killed per capita far more people than COVID has here 100 years later. And I've put pandemic in quotes because what we're undergoing now is a pandemic that is government manufactured. Okay? The disease that has ravaged a small group, generally older people, has not been widespread. In Connecticut, aside from the first 5 or 6 weeks where nursing home deaths were really high, the number of older people who have succumbed to COVID is about 0.5%. Okay? You wouldn't even notice the increased number of deaths were it not for everything in the media and most things coming from government being focused on COVID. Now, we have helped thanks to, I still don't say government, but thanks to just wisdom of ordinary people who, in March of 2020, started cleaning their hands more, cleaning off surfaces, using face shields. Remember, they were almost as prevalent as masks until the government said that masks was the way to do it. We put older people who might be in jeopardy out of harm's way. We developed neat things like DoorDash and deliveries for almost everything to keep people from getting out in public. And we did it without government command. Since then, the government, thanks to people in power seeing opportunities to expand their power and diminish our independence, use it. The common thread in every mandate or release from a mandate has been more acceptability politically, more power to those who are in power. That's the thread. People in power getting more. That is not American. And by the way, in 1921, we probably had the most un-American of presidents. Woodrow Wilson, unique in history, was the one president who wanted to control other people internationally. Okay? That was not true of any of his predecessors. Roosevelt had a little aspect of that, Theodore rather, but that was a very different thing too. And the 1920 campaign, Harding and Coolidge, were looking for normalcy. We should be looking for normalcy where we can get it. Don't wait for midterm elections that affect D.C. In 2021, this election and other municipal elections should be for ordinary American assertiveness to assert itself.